Namaskar, I'm Nishant Kumar Azad, and today I'm in South Kolkata's Fern Road, a typical Bhadralok area. And we are joined by three important guests. One is Jaideep Sen, he is a senior advocate in Kolkata High Court. Another one is Sumit Datta, he is a management consultant and comes from a Swami Vivekananda's family. And the third one is Rakhi Das, she is a homemaker. We will start with Jaideep Sen. Jaideep, the first phase of voting is over and it is around 90%. For the first time in Bengal history, the number is around 90%. How do you see this voting percentage of 90%? It is because from the very beginning, people start talking about there is too much anti-incumbency against Mamata government. So, do you see this voting is again anti-incumbency against Mamata government?
Certainly, it is a mandate. It shows likelihood of a mandate against anti-incumbency. And secondly, this huge turnout is also very significant in view of deletion of so many names from the electoral roll.
SIR.
So, number of genuine electorates coming out and voting, that has significantly gone up, and that's a very significant turn of events.
So, SIR has been at the center of this election, and both the parties, whether it is the two major parties, TMC and BJP, अपने अपने तरीके से उसको यूज कर रहे थे. TMC consistently attacked BJP for deleting genuine voters. Even they went to the court also, but the decision was not in their favor, and only few names, around 150 names, have been added to the list again. So, how do you see this allegation of SIR that BJP is deliberately deleting TMC voters?
First of all, Election Commission of India is an independent constitutional body. I don't think BJP has much control over it. And also, the Honorable Supreme Court has upheld the actions taken by Chief Election Commissioner of India. So, I am no way, as a citizen and a law-abiding citizen, I am no one to comment on that. But one thing, with a rider, Election Commission has tried its best to purify and filter the electoral roll. That's a commendable job because there has been a lot of illegal immigrants in West Bengal because it's a border state, and huge presence of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. I'm not talking about Hindu immigrants because they are protected under CAA. I'm talking about the Muslim immigrants from Bangladesh in a large number. Is not a BJP's allegation or BJP sympathizers allegation that has been declared by Honorable Supreme Court in Sarvananda Sonowal versus Union of India case. So that's an admitted fact, as much as we deny it for political reasons.
Sumit, we have seen this even during the first phase election. We have seen multiple incidents of violence, and not only on the BJP workers, several BJP leaders were attacked, the BJP candidates were attacked, and we have seen the huge number of central forces deployment across Bengal. Despite this massive deployment, we have seen the violence across the Bengal. So, how do you see this political culture, political violence culture of West Bengal?
Unfortunately, West Bengal has a tradition of political violence, of electoral violence. Sad but true. These violences, we can look at it from a positive as well as a negative point of view. The positive point of view is, if people are resorting to violence, some people are protesting, so there is some kind of a fight. If there was no violence, which had about very low violence, it could also trigger a complete surrender of the opposition to the voting machinery of the ruling party. When there's a complete surrender, then there's no violence. Violence also indicates some resistance. The CRPF deployment, though heavy, probably needed more fine-tuning. Like on TV, BJP leader, a candidate was shown who was saying that the CRPF is not acting very efficiently. The SP of the district is not being impartial. So the election commission should probably on the 29th, today what has happened,
in the
learn-
second phase of
second phase, learn lessons from today and devise a mechanism by which they can take very prompt action. For example, if the SP does not show impartiality, shows actions which are devious, within an hour some action will be taken. Something very strict and very fast has to happen. That is one side of it. And to add to what Advocate Jaideep said, the deletion of names automatically leads to a higher percentage. Simple mathematics. If there were 100 voters and 30 names were deleted, out of which 15 or 20 were non-existing, ghost voters. So automatically now if 70 people vote, 65 people vote, the percentage shows high percentage. So that is, statistics also plays a part in giving us a high percentage. And the deletion of valid names which TMC had, it's a double-edged sword. Because the names which have been deleted, there have been some valid names. Even my name would have been deleted, but last moment it got restored. A lot of valid voters' names have got deleted. Now, whether they were BJP voters or TMC voters,
that's the point of discussion.
That's the point that we cannot fathom. But what could have been done, no point crying over spilled milk, but still, maybe at the very first phase of SIR, Election Commission should have shown more promptness, it should have done more follow-ups. The work of the Election Commission seems to have got better and better as time progressed. And a lot of actions were taken, a lot of measures were taken. Maybe a lot of these, had they happened in the very first phase when they started, maybe we would have had a better list. Maybe we would have had a list of genuine voters whose names are not now there. Their names would not have got deleted. Also, the SIR leaves one very valid thing out. That is, there are still voters who are illegal voters who have documents forged to such an extent that it needs a lot more probing to fish them out. Because this illegal immigration, as Advocate Jaideep was very correctly pointed out, is not an issue of today. It would be it is the irony of fate that almost 25 years back, the current Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal, as a member of Parliament, had raised this issue in Parliament, and Mamata Banerjee had mentioned that there are crores of illegal Bangladeshi immigrants coming in. What action is being taken? And 25 years have passed. So, the actual amount of illegal immigrants and the percentage which SIR managed to delete from the voter list, there's also a question on that.
Acha, let's if we see post 2021 Bengal politics, Bhadralok, ये term बहुत पुराना है, but it comes into discussion, and people often say कि Bhadralok doesn't vote for BJP, they vote for most of the time they vote anti-BJP, but in recent years, or we can say, Bhadralok have a sympathy towards BJP. So do you think Bhadralok, which used to be left, completely shifted to right in this election?
If that happens, it will be a problem for the ruling party.
Okay.
If that happens, because in the last elections, the left, the Bhadraloks who were traditionally left, had voted for TMC. There has been a shift. But again, that is a matter of question, how much has shifted. There have been in our discussions, we have found out people who've been voting the left for 6-7 elections, 25, 30 years. They have a feeling that their vote is going to go to waste, voting for the left. Maybe voting for a change would be better. But then again, there are people who are so stuck in their mindsets that they might continue voting for the left, which is actually a vote for TMC. What is a reality ground reality in Bengal is vote for communists actually end up as votes for TMC. A part of Bengali Bhadraloks have realized that. Now the question is, to what extent have the Bengali Bhadraloks realized? The thing is, if you want TMC, vote for TMC. If you don't want TMC, vote for BJP. Voting for the communists is actually a kind of side door way of voting for TMC, which is actually of no use.
So there is more anti-TMC vote rather than pro-BJP votes.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the right thing. The votes which are shifting from left to BJP are anti-TMC votes. After all, people are experiencing different levels of difficulty, different experiences, each individual experiences. And there's also a fear factor. You can understand there is a hesitation amongst people to speak out. Even if you do a very ground level, very thorough survey, which I'm sure your experience will say, people, especially women, are very hesitant, very non-committal to speak out. So it's very difficult to say. But this much we can say that these are anti-TMC votes, not pro-BJP votes. BJP, again, I might be sounding a bit critical, hasn't really gone and fished for much votes. The votes they are getting is again anti-TMC votes, the new votes, I mean.
Jaideep, I want to understand from you that you have been following Bengal politics very closely. And if we say this election, I feel that this election is a battle for survival for both the parties. Mamta, with the growing age, maybe she will lose the charisma in the coming future, and she will lose that charisma in the next assembly polls. And after her, that Abhishek Banerjee will have the full ownership
Control
of the party and full control of the party. So, do you and we know that BJP in its capacity, they have done extremely well. They have done everything to win this election. They have gone full blown in this election. So, do you think that this is a battle for survival for both the parties?
You want a cryptic answer or an elaborate answer?
I want an elaborate answer.
Because your question is complex and multi-layered. First of all, before I answer this question, you asked a very interesting question to my friend Sumit, that there is a understanding, there is a perception in India, mostly in northern India and western India, that Bengali Bhadralok votes for are anti-BJP. Now, I tell you something, there is some misnomer in the perception. First of all, we have to understand what is Bhadralok. You write to poetry in little magazine, you become a Bhadralok, an intellectual. You write, make 2 films which doesn't hit the box office, and you become an intellectual. The terminology Bhadralok, according to me, is somebody who is entrenched in the Bengali culture, through whom the Bengali culture, typical Bengali culture continues, traditional Bengali culture continues, the cultural legacy of Swami Vivekananda, whose descendants I am sitting with, Rabindranath Thakur, Satyajit Roy, Thakur Ramkrishna. So, and also somebody who has a vision not confined to regional politics, regional identity. So, Bengalis have, thankfully, and I am very proud of that, that Bengalis have never been bogged down to regionalist mindset. Bengal has given national leaders to whole country whose vision was Bharat, not Bengal. So that's why I'm saying, if you talk to the medical fraternity, doctors, if you talk to technocrats, engineers, you will find, if you talk to lawyers, I give you one information, Calcutta High Court Bar Association, this election, BJP has swept the election. So do you think some established lawyers who are fighting cases, critical cases, he is not a Bhadralok or an intellectual? Somebody who is a management consultant, who is who is advising companies to grow business, is not an intellectual or a Bhadralok. Or some doctor who is saving lives, an engineer who is making bridges and taking patents.
They all are.
So, but perception that somebody writing to crap poetry in 2 little magazine and having accolades from their close coterie, he is a Bhadralok and intellectual. So that's a misnomer. And BJP should also come out of this misnomer, misconception. The next question you asked is whether it's a battle for survival.
For both the parties.
Both the parties.
Yeah.
I don't agree there. In 2021, the unprecedented violence the BJP supporters faced, they have never faced anywhere in India. That was a genocidal violence.
Completely agree.
Still, BJP ground workers have regrouped. BJP ground workers have given a befitting fight. That is because the resilience of BJP ground level workers in Bengal and their ideological commitment. If TMC loses, it is end game for TMC because this party is not based on ideology.
BJP calls it a civilizational battle.
Yes, it's a civilizational battle in a sense that we are demographically in a very precarious condition. We have seen in what happened in Dhulian. We have seen what happened in some other places in Paschim Medinipur. One fellow is saying in the same language as Oasis brother that give us 5 minutes, we'll teach Hindus a lesson. So it's a civilizational battle. And it is all the more a civilizational battle for Bengali Hindus because Bengali Hindus are very much dependent on political authority for their protection. They don't ensure their own protection, own security. But all said and done, so far BJP party is concerned, even if BJP loses, it's not the end of BJP because it's ideology. It's an ideology-based party, and the ground level workers are absolutely dedicated and committed. The ground level workers of BJP can be a treasure for any party. This level of dedication and commitment can be treasure
despite facing
so much of violence which no part of India has shown. So I bow down to the supporters of BJP, ground level supporters of BJP. Second is Trinamool is not an ideology driven party. It is an interest driven party. Now Trinamool celebrates 21st July as Martyrdom Day for 21 or 25 people who were killed by police firing during the left from regime. And the chief secretary who was in charge of entire police, he was made a MP of Trinamool, Manish Gupta. So it is not an ideology. It is not an ideology. It is interest-driven party. Once it is out of power, the source of catering to the interest will dry up. So it will disintegrate. And I must acknowledge that Mamata Banerjee, Srimati Mamata Banerjee, whether falling into my choice or against my choice, is a leader of prominence, a leader of extreme guts. But she really had a great job in throwing out left from West Bengal. But everything has an expiry date.
So do you think that this is her last election?
Considering her age, see, I think BJP is going to win this election.
It's the biggest statement.
I think BJP is going to win this election. If BJP wins, which I think it will, that's the end game for TMC. And even if it doesn't, BJP will come as a very strong opposition breathing on the neck of TMC government. And it will be not the BJP of 2021. It will be a BJP with bigger presence and a more aggressive tone in
the more number,
assembly,
more number
and
will
more
be,
aggression,
more aggressive.
aggression. With a rider, sent BJP leadership, who is also running the union government, must ensure that their supporters are not left to, in case of any defeat, their supporters are not left in the mercy of lynching mob. That they must ensure.
Sumit, I was going through the Twitter posts and my fellow journalists, few of them wrote that there is also a view that high voting percentage is an anti-SIR thing. Do you believe this sentiment, that this can be anti-SIR sentiment? that resonates into this high voting percentage?
I cannot make much of a connection with anti-SIR feelings and a high voting percentage. High voting percentage can be attributed, in my view, one, to pure statistics. Second would be in certain places, certain voter groups, vote banks might have feel threatened. For example, in a TMC stronghold which has a good minority vote base, the minorities might have felt threatened by the rise of BJP and gone out and voted in large numbers.
Okay.
Conversely, in a BJP stronghold, the BJP vote bank over there might have felt threatened and they might have turned out in large numbers and voted. But drawing a correlation with SIR and voting is a little far-fetched for me. If SIR has an impact, it has an impact on the numbers. But if a family has, let's say, 7 voting members, and let us say unfairly, let us assume unfairly, one name has been deleted from the list, one valid member's name has been deleted, the family is left with 6 voters who anyway would have voted. And these 6 members do vote. Those members, the 6 numbers cannot become 8. The numbers cannot change that way. And it's also a little far-fetched to think a person who is a valid voter but traditionally does not vote, does not feel the need to vote, suddenly feels SIR is something so important. SIR has done some damage to the social fabric, and as a protest goes out to vote. That also is a little far-fetched. Difficult for me to digest or concur with it.
Jaideep, TMC leaders or the top leaders of TMC, they alleges BJP of doing Hindutva politics. They alleges BJP of doing communal politics. और ममता दीदी कहती है कि बंगाल में कॉमनल पॉलिटिक्स नहीं चलेगा, बंगाल में जय श्री राम का पॉलिटिक्स नहीं चलेगा. Contradiction to that, see, BJP alleges TMC of doing appeasement politics, pro-Muslim thing. How do you see both the parties?
See, politics in the name of religion is not a new phenomena that started in West Bengal or with BJP. Religious politics has been a age-old phenomena. For 70 years, it is going on in India. But previously, it used to be one-sided. Now it has become even-sided. Previously, we were seeing only leaders going to Jama Masjid and sitting
Wearing
with cap and sitting with Shahi Imam. Now we are seeing leaders going to temples, Hindu temples. Now, all said and done, I give you statistics. See, in Bengal, forget about what the discussions happen in tea junctions or cafes or studios. In Bengal, for last 10 years, politics on religion line is very polarized. I tell you, give you a statistics. What is the vote percentage of BJP in UP? When BJP had a landslide victory, it is 33-34%. BJP got 41% vote, round about 41% vote, in spite of so much of violence, which is entirely Hindu vote.
Complete.
So we already are a polarized society. Our chief minister said something about Dudhel Goru. The cow which gives milk, I am ready to digest her kick. About indicating to one community. So isn't that a religious politics? Another narrative is Bangali and Obangali, Bohiragato and somebody indigenous people. Now this narrative has been started. This narrative has been started by TMC. And it is a brainchild of the left. I am telling you, in this election, TMC and left, they are aligned.
Okay.
In symbol, they are fighting different, but they are aligned. Left front, left candidates are totally sponsored by TMC. I'm saying this with all responsibility. Now, this is a brainchild. This narrative is a brainchild. Bohiragato and in Bangali, this narrative is a brainchild of left, which is being used by TMC. Now, Yusuf Pathan, who is he?
True.
Yusuf Pathan, who is he? Kirti Azad, who is he? Kirti Azad is a TMC MP whose father was chief minister in Bihar. You are from Bihar, I believe. You'll be knowing better that during Kirti Azad's father's chief ministership, there was a Bengali exodus from Bhagalpur.
True.
Because of land mafia. And Kirti Azad is not an outsider. Now, one MP, Mahua Maitro, she said, if you do vote for BJP, you are not a Bengali.
You are not a Bengali.
Bangla, I said in Bangla, যদি বিজেপিকে ভোট দাও তুমি বাঙালি নও। তো I can tell, তুমি যদি বাঙালিকে বিয়ে না করো তাহলে তুমি বাংলার নয়। If you marry a non-Bengali, you are not Bengali. So,
with that logic.
With that logic. So, these are all crap, but this is a very divisive logic, and which is not that calling somebody Bohiragato, calling Hindi-speaking people as Bohiragato, I tell you, if somebody wants to take a legal action, it is a crime. It comes under the category of hate crime, under the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita also. I don't know why political parties take it seriously.
Yeah, and the thing is, the people
today, what this Bohiragato theory discovered, I mean, injected by TMC-sponsored groups, or say this Raj Thakre in Maharashtra.
Even the recent Rajya Sabha MP, which TMC got selected, she's also from outside.
Yes, yes. So, TMC is a party for last 15-20 years. So, Bengalis were not Bengalis before TMC came into existence. So, what foolish crap is this? And then again, see, in a state, the political battle should be on the narrative of development, education, employment, security. Now, here the narrative started by TMC and brainchild of left is if BJP comes, we will not have Mach, Bhat, Mangsho. Now, 2 weeks back, I was in Lucknow, where Yogi Adityanath is CM, and I relished on galoti kebab.
Very the popular one.
And another statistics is West Bengal doesn't even fall under first 5 fish eating states. Tripura is number 1 in percentage of population having fish, and it is BJP ruled for last 10 years. So this is all crap. But I think this BJP could have fought these allegations, these narratives more effectively.
Sumit, Jadeep in his opening remarks, he talked about demography thing, he talked about infiltration thing, and which is another point of discussion for in this election. And I have no problem with that someone in a city like Kolkata is a Muslim mayor, but we have seen that looking at the population and Hindu and Muslim population of Kolkata city, you have a Muslim mayor, Firhad Hakim, who is number 2 in the party, and he is winning Kolkata Port constituency for the last 3 times. So how do you see a state like Bengal, a crucial state like Bengal, which borders and associate with different countries? So how do you see this demography change in a strategic state like West Bengal?
Very sad to say, as you said, Bengal has a big strategic importance. The chicken neck is very important. You talk about the mayor of Calcutta. He wins from a place, the Calcutta port, which if you ask anybody on the streets, I am making a comment which can be validated by anybody on the streets. I'm sure Advocate Jadik would agree with me. The Calcutta port is controlled by Muslim mafias.
Yeah.
So how does a person win elections there? Of course, with the support of Muslim mafias.
And not only Firhad Hakim, there are a number of Muslim mafias across Bengal.
Oh yes, in Calcutta there is a place. If you are interested, I will give you the coordinates. It's a locality. Once you go in, there you keep going, and there are hundreds and thousands of houses, and you can make out these are people who are not people of Indian origin. And in that locality, there's real estate happening, land being promoted. Hardly any building takes sanction from the corporation for getting their building development. Like the building plans, they don't even require any sanction. They just build, and no one questions. The kind of illegal activities that goes on openly cannot go on without government support. Maybe tacit, government turns a blind eye. So that is also another dangerous thing about the demography. There are two ways to get a vote bank. One is you do development work for that vote bank, and you get votes. And the other way is you identify key influencers who may be even criminals, and you turn a blind eye to the activity, and they ensure you get their vote. Unfortunately, many members of the minority community are now saying that the second path has been chosen. No real development has happened. Key influencers with dubious backgrounds, they have been sponsored, or the state has turned a blind eye to the activities, and they have ensured that the vote bank works in en masse, aided with infiltration. So that actually is, as Advocate Jaydeep said, it is a very dangerous thing. For 15 years, no action had been taken by the state. And right now, even now, large parts of the Bangladesh border is open. Even if you close borders, they have by now developed very good mechanisms in Bangladesh of getting forged Indian passports and other cards and everything. In Bangladesh, there are offices which does it very well. I would not even say it's high time the central government looks into the security aspect of it. I would say it's almost past time. The security aspect, the national security aspect of it is taken into view when we are looking at Bengal. It is not just electoral voting. It doesn't really matter in the long term which party comes to power if national security was not at stake. If it's just a case of political parties, doesn't really matter because it's democracy. After 5 years, there's another chance of changing the party. So democracy always gives a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance. When does it become a last chance? When the state or the area under consideration, the demographics is changing. Like the demography of Lebanon from the 1950s, 60s to modern day Lebanon has changed to such an extent that Christians, the once majority in Lebanon, have now become minorities, and they are prosecuted in major scale in Lebanon, and there's nothing much they can do about it because there's no democracy now. Democracy has been wiped out. Bengal faces threat of that severity with Bangladesh as its border, and very difficult for a person who does not understand Bengali culture to finally distinguish a Bengali and a Bangladeshi in the bordering villages. We can, because maybe we have a bit of blood from that side also. We understand the accent, the culture, the dialect. We can distinguish if it's a Bangladeshi Hindu or a Bangladeshi Muslim or somebody living in Bengal on the border areas. We can make those fine distinctions. But non-Bengali speaking person, not acquainted with Bengali culture, will not be able to distinguish. So a time might come when the mayhem will reach such extent that there is no way you can control. You just don't know who's who, whether the guy next door is a Bangladeshi infiltrator, whether the guy opposite is actually a terrorist who has been planted. You just don't know. It might reach those proportions if the whole thing goes unchecked.
राखी जी, आप डरिए नहीं, मैं आपसे सिंपल इतना समझना चाह रहा हूँ कि जो बंगाल की जो भी अभी हालत है वो आप मुझे बताइए, वो अच्छी है, बुरी है, कैसी है, बेहतर होनी चाहिए? इन योर ओपिनियन व्हाट इज द करेंट स्टेटस ऑफ और व्हाट इज द करेंट कंडीशन ऑफ बंगाल? हाउ डू यू सी प्रेजेंट बंगाल?
यहाँ पर हम लोग सेफ नहीं है। रात में मैंने बेटी को बाहर जाने के लिए हम सेफ नहीं है यहाँ पर। यही
मतलब
ममता दीदी कहती है, मान लीजिए कि ममता दीदी कहती है कि क्योंकि एक घटना होती है कलकत्ता में और उसके बाद ममता दीदी का बयान आता है कि आप 8 बजे के बाद घर से मत निकलिए, यू डोंट स्टेप आउटसाइड योर हाउस आफ्टर 8 o'clock. That message was for women. So how do you see this message of not stepping out post 8 o'clock in the evening?
हम लोग मानता नहीं ना, माने এটা তো মানা যাচ্ছে না কি কিন্তু हम लोग के लिए सही नहीं है ये बात। तो हमारा बच्चा लोग बाहर में जाता है बेटी, तो पीने के डर रहता है जे कुछ ना हो जाए, इसीलिए यहाँ पर हम सेफ नहीं है।
मतलब जाना भी पड़ता है पर सेफ भी नहीं है, चिंता भी होता है, सब कुछ। इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन, a sad combination.
अच्छा, we talk about Bengali Asmita thing that ममता दीदी से इसकी if BJP comes to power, बंगाली अस्मिता जो है खतरे में पड़ जाएगी। तो how do you see this खतरा on Bengali अस्मिता if BJP comes to power in the state?
I think it's I'm sure Advocate Jaideep would give a more fitting reply. It is actually a very laughable statement. I would say why laughable statement? Because first is to define, if you define what Bengali Asmita is about, it is about producing leaders, about producing men who have contributed nationally, internationally. That is from where the pride, the Asmita comes. And these people have a deep roots in our culture. Now I'm sure Yusuf Pathan, Kirti Azad or Menaka Guruswamy, with zero understanding, zero roots in Bengali culture, they are irrelevant to Bengali Asmita. Yusuf Pathan, when he stood in the Lok Sabha elections, he had given a condition, a request that he needs a Bengali translator. He doesn't understand Bengali to that extent, he needs a translator. When riots were going on in Bahrampur, Murshidabad, he was away somewhere.
Gujarat,
So, these kind of people with zero roots, the IPAC leadership, which is a very important part in deciding election strategy, I don't think any of them have deep roots in Bengali culture or any understanding of Bengali way of life. So Bengali Asmita is irrelevant for a large amount of people within the leadership, which is fine. I am not concerned with Bengali Asmita. But if you raise the topic of Bengali Asmita, then it becomes irrelevant to a large extent. And if you talk of BJP, well, if you look at the larger Sangh family, one of the founders, he had studied in Calcutta, and he had studied in a school where he was inspired by the ideas of Swami Vivekananda. The second head of RSS was somebody who was a brahmachari at Sargachi Ashram, which unfortunately no one highlights much, that there are millions of devotees of
even
Sri Ram
BJP had a deep roots.
So the roots, if you start from there, Shyam Mukherjee, of course, I was coming to Shyam Mukherjee, I was going even deep. That someone like the BJP's founding fathers, one of them was a monk at Sargachi Ashram, which is the first ashram established even before Belun Math.
Regarding this issue of Bengali Asmita, I would like to join few dots, few points. See, Bengali Asmita is a thing we are hearing for last 6 months after the drum of trumpet of election has blown. Now, if we go back to history, we have a Asmita of forgotten Asmita of 1200, 1300 years. Mahayogi Matsyendranath was a Bengali. Guru Mahayogi Gorakshanath was a Bengali from Kamrup. So our Asmita goes back to that level. Now forget about history. Can we say anybody represents Bengali Asmita more than Swami Vivekananda? I don't think nobody will doubt it, dispute it. Now what Swami Vivekananda says, गर्व से कहो हम हिंदू है. It was said by Swami Vivekananda. Is that against Bengali Asmita? Swami Vivekananda said in his writing, Shami Shishya Sangbad. It's Guru and disciple conversation. It's a classic work. He said, घर घर में महावीर अर्थात हनुमान का पूजा स्टार्ट कर दो, तब इस जाति में बल आएगा, वीर्य आएगा, साहस आएगा. I'll give you a copy of that book. So Swamiji had said that घर घर में महावीर का पूजा करो, महावीर हनुमान का पूजा करो, तो जाति में उन्नति आएगा. और हमारा बंगाल में जो लोग बंगाली अस्मिता का बात कर रहा है, वो उन्हीं का सरकार हनुमान जयंती में पूजा करने के लिए परमिशन नहीं दे रहा है. हमको कोर्ट जाना पड़ रहा है. I have represented the parties, worshippers in 2 cases to get permission from police to perform Hanuman Jayanti puja. So they are giving lips. They are least bothered about Bengali Asmita. They don't know what Bengali Asmita is. Those who oppose Jai Shri Ram, those who oppose Jai Bajrangbali, they are against an antithesis to Bengali Asmita. Because they cannot be more Bengali than Swami Vivekananda.
लेकिन इसमें एक गैप है कि ममता कहती है कि हम लोग जय माँ दुर्गा जय माँ काली वाले हैं, यहाँ जय श्री राम नहीं चलेगा.
That's another very wrong assumption, very wrong statement. So Vivekananda's Guru Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, their family deity was Raghuveer, that is Sri Ramchandra. The worship of Sri Ramchandra is very, very old. Swami Vivekananda, after he came back to India after his Chicago visit, and he goes to meet Sri Saradama, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa's divine consort. When he goes to meet her, the first thing he says that, Mother, like Bajrangbali, like your Bajrangbali, with your inspiration, with your, like Bajrangbali, with one leap, I have crossed the oceans and gone to America and done your work. So he is giving an analogy where Ramakrishna Paramahansa is Sri Ramchandra, Sita Ma is Sri Saradama, and he is Bajrangbali.
So Jatib, I want your closing remarks on all of this. That 4 May को result आना है, and the thing will be decided on May 4 that who will return to power, or that there will be some new party who is going to rule the state. But how crucial is this election for you as a Bengali, not as some TMC supporter or BJP supporter? How crucial this election is for you being a Bengali?
As a Hindu Bengali citizen of Bharat, this election is extremely crucial for me from cultural point of view, because some monkeys are preaching Bengali Asmita, which is going against the real history and culture and tradition of Bengalis. Secondly, from a Bharatiya perspective also, this election is a matter of huge strategic importance, a security issue, because we should never forget West Bengal is a border state. It shares a very long border with a country which has partitioned from us on the grounds of religion, which has consistently shown anti-Hindu activities, anti-Hindu genocide, and which is openly hostile against India and friendly with our enemy nations. So, and we have seen, if you go back in news links, you will find lot of terror attacks all over India had a root, had a connection in Bengal. These terrorists sometimes had been harbored in Bengal. So that's why this election is not only very important for a Bengali Hindu, belonging to a refugee family from East Bengal. This is very important from the national security perspective also.
Sumit, TMC leaders, I don't want to name them. There are leaders who glorify the political violent culture of Bengal. Do you see this if BJP comes to power? This violent political culture is going to end,
I hope the government.
or there will be much more clashes between TMC and BJP supporters in the coming time.
I hope there is the head and a heart speaking. My head says it is all dependent on the final outcome, the results. If BJP, as Advocate Jaideep says, could be breathing on the neck of Trinamool, or if they win by a narrow margin, if it goes in their favor, the chances, the occurrences of violence would be much less. Because
BJP comes to power.
Because these people, the BJP workers, the violence starts maybe in the minds of the leaders, but it's executed by workers. At the level of workers, these are people who've themselves been victims of violence and have shown extreme resilience and regrouped after 5 years. There will be sporadic cases of I want to take my personal, someone might go and say. But on a large level, these are not the kind of people who would resort to large-scale violence. Whereas the reverse happens and TMC wins with a large, huge margin. Since they have won like that in 21 and since they had resorted to large-scale violence, there is always a chance of large-scale violence happening. The election commission, not only the election commission, they will be moving away once the new government comes in. The courts and the central government and the new, even if TMC comes, the new, whoever becomes the TMC minister, assuming it's Honorable Mamata Banerjee, should take a close look at containing, controlling the violence.
राखी जी, आपका क्लोजिंग रिमार्क जानना चाहेंगे कि क्या चाहती हैं सरकार, किसी की भी आए, no matter who comes to power, whether it is TMC or BJP, what are your expectation from the new government?
हम तो चाहिए जी, हम वुमेन के लिए
एक अच्छा माहौल हो,
यस,
जहां वो सेफ फील करें,
एकदम
फ्री फील करें,
yes, yes.
क्योंकि बंगाल जो है, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड योर फियर, क्योंकि बंगाल एक विमेन सेंट्रिक सोसाइटी रहा है और यहाँ महिलाएं हमेशा पुरुष से बहुत आगे रही हैं, और वैसे समाज में जहां अगर महिला असुरक्षित फील करती है तो समाज में बदलाव की जरूरत है ना, यही.
यस.
सो थैंक यू फॉर टॉकिंग टू ऑर्गेनाइजर जयदीप जी, सुमित दा, राखी जी, थैंक यू वंस अगेन.